quotation. So this is John 8:31 to 32. I want to centralize it, Control E, right? And then italics, Control I, right? And I make the actual scripture bold. And then if the space between the scripture and the quotation itself is too much, I can come here, just click on John, right? I click on it, and then I come to page layout. After I say this, after is too much, I click 0 and it just closes it up nicely. Okay, so I see that I like what I'm seeing. I click Control B, bold here again. So I just apply the same concept to all my scriptures. Control I, italics, and Control E, centralize. If I see too much space, I delete. And if I just want a little more space, yeah, so spacing is quite important to make your book look really nice and pleasing to the eyes for the readers. So I'm going to format the entire book with all the scriptures, right? All the scriptures I would change to that particular format. Okay, I'll go through the entire book and change the format to that. One very important point to take note of is the font size. One nice concept with font sizes is the fact that the larger your font size, the bigger your book, right? So for me, the final copy of this book and one way to change your font size, if I click on this, it shows me that the font size is 11 over here, right? So what I like to do, I like to select it all, right? So that I don't have to be changing the font size chapter by chapter. There's 7 chapters. It's easier for me to change all the font sizes and then come back and just make few changes back to the title and other things, right? So I just take note of all these ones and then still come back to them. So I just select the entire book, entire script. I made 14 my font size for my book Antica. So I changed this one back very quickly. E. Change it back quickly. Yeah. Remember your shortcut keys. Control. So this one now I'm doing Control greater than sign. Come here again to my copyright page. Control E. Right. Okay. I see that this is now a little too big, so I can reduce the copyright page to maybe 13. Or yeah, 13 looks good. So what I do, I check out the page break. Where is the page break? So immediately after the last word on my copyright page, I press the delete button so that the page break comes this way. So as you can see, the page break has come this way, and then I have my content on the next page. We'll still come to all of that. Let me remove my markers. Right, so that's that about font sizes. Okay, so I change this one back to heading 1. It goes back there. Change this heading 1. Good. And then the believer heading 1. Okay, and now I can change this one back again to 50. Yeah. So once I'm done with my scripture, centralizing it and putting every single scripture. So I put the scripture in the introduction. This is it here, Proverbs. So I come here, I do Control B for that. Same format, Control E, Control I, my Proverbs. Boom, boom. Okay, so this looks good. It separates the scripture from the actual text, right? This looks very good for me. Okay, I can change this one again to 40, just to give you some breathing room. And then I see, before I change it to 40, if you observed when it was still, I can do Control Z for undo, right? So if I undo, you see that this scripture, John 15:15, this scripture, John 15:15, is, like the last line here. I want it to come here. I want it to come here, right? So that the setting can be good. So anything that makes my book just sit very well and make it pleasing to the eyes. So I come here, Control I, Control E, and then Control B. Here, 0. Yeah. So the elements in my book are mostly scriptures and then text. Scriptures and text. So what you need to do is determine what are the main elements of your book, right? So mine is scriptures, text, headings. So I have my heading 1, I have this picture to represent it, and then I have the body, right? Another one we would consider very quickly is heading 2, right? So all my subheadings, right, I make them, I can decide what to make them. So I change this one to 40, just as it feels good to my eyes. So heading 1 is believer. Now for all the subtopics in each chapter, I change to heading 2. Okay, so in chapter 1 here, as you can see, I have who is a believer. It's under chapter 1, so it comes here as heading 2, right? Of course, I can format it again. Okay, so I use Book Antica for this one. I changed the font size to 18 and I made the font black, right? Made it black and then Control B for bold. So if I want to leave it this way, it's fine, or I can also come here and change the indent to maybe -0.3. Let's see how that looks. So looks better to me. So this is it. So I highlight it again and then go to home, right click on heading 2, update heading 2 to match section. Boom. Right, so every heading 2 I make right now would update to that exact format. Okay, so I have to just look for all the subheadings and then change them to heading 2, right? So I change this one, the sin issue. I change this subtopic still under chapter 1, right? It's a heading 2. Okay, so when I click there, you see it goes to heading 2. If I click on a heading 1, you see it changes here to heading 1. I get to identify which of them. So I do the same throughout my book, right? All heading 1s, all major headings are heading 1 and all subheadings are heading 2s. And if you have other subheadings, you can also format them to heading 3 accordingly, subtitle, etc. Right? This formatting is so important, especially when we want to do our table of contents.